With World Cup fever going on and IPL just around the corner, there's no better time to talk about what really builds the champions. In this video, we are going to talk with Patrick Farhart. He has worked with IPL giants like Delhi Capitals, Mumbai Indians and Kings 11 Punjab. He served as a physiotherapist for the Indian men's cricket team 2015 to 2019. From world stages to high performance labs, please welcome Patrick Farhart. So, which exercise do the players hate the most, but they need the most?
I'm going to talk about recovery. I'm going to talk about all modes of recovery, particularly active recovery. So, players love getting in the gym. Players love doing their high-speed running sessions. Players love their cricket training. Players love playing. What a lot of players don't enjoy doing are the things that they need really, really much. And I will talk around recovery. And when I talk about recovery, I'm talking about things like off legs exercise the night after a match or the morning after a match, swimming pool type recovery, ice bath, hot, cold contrast type baths. If I'm going to call it an exercise or a group of exercises, I would call it recovery.
Have you ever had a player who said he's 100% fit, but who's clearly not?
I'm trying not to laugh. This happens regularly in professional cricket.
Okay.
And in junior cricket. It happens more often than what you think. Again, I'm going to talk about fast bowling because it's rare that a fast bowler will feel 100% fit and not have something niggly, something that's a little bit stiff, something that's a little bit painful that they're able to play with. It's quite rare that doesn't happen. And a lot of the time a bowler will tell you that they are, yes, 100% fit, but you know that they are carrying something small that they are able to function with and able to bowl with and able to perform with. So, the answer to that question is clearly that happens quite frequently. I'm not saying it happens every game to multiple numbers of players in a team, but it does happen more frequently than what people think.
So Patrick, ice bath or sports massage?
I'm assuming you're talking about recovery.
Yes.
It's a good question, this one. Everyone automatically assumes that recovery is ice bath, but there's a lot of evidence now that suggests that dependent upon the type of exercise that you do, that sometimes warm water recovery is as good, if not better, than ice bath. So for me, it's more about how active a recovery is rather than passive. So I think there's a place for ice bath. I think there's a place for sports massage, definitely. But for me, what comes on top of both of those is active recovery, and that can be active off-legs recovery, which can be low-intensity exercise. It can be cycling, it can be cross-trainer type work. I really like pool and unweighted type recovery. So I know I'm not 100% answering your question. I think both have their place, depending on the type of exercise that people have done. But on top of those two, I'll always place active recovery above ice bath and above sports massage.
So Patrick, who's more dramatic when injured, batsmen or bowlers?
You're talking about fast bowlers or spin bowlers?
Fast bowlers.
Okay. I would generally say batters are more dramatic when they get injured, and I don't mean that in a nasty manner. The majority of fast bowlers, unfortunately, a lot of the time from quite a young age, have been used to dealing with soreness, with stiffness, a lot of the time with injury. So I'm not saying that they always get injured, but I think injury is, for a lot of fast bowlers, always around the corner. And it's something that they have to deal with quite often, particularly from the ages of 15 or 16 through to about 22 or 23. And you look at the statistics for injuries in professional teams, and fast bowlers generally have 4 to 5 times the injuries that batters have. So I'm not saying it's because fast bowlers are more used to getting injured, but I think until they're professionals, I think batters don't get injured much. I think in professional ranks, yeah, they sustain muscle strains, particularly with T20 cricket. They sustain finger, hand type injuries, particularly when you're facing bowlers who bowl at 140, 150 kilometres an hour. So for batsmen, it's more of a surprise, more of a shock. And if you're going to say one of those is more dramatic and acts more dramatic, it'd probably be batters, because they're just not as prone to being injured as fast bowlers.
So what habit separates champions from average athletes?
It's more than habit. I'm going to call it habits. I will start by saying, for the vast majority of athletes, whether they're champions or average athletes, now if you take talent out of the equation, because you obviously need talent, okay?
Yes.
But a lot of average athletes have an amazing amount of talent, and a lot of champion athletes don't have that much talent.
Yes.
Okay, so for me, what you generally see, behaviours and habits off the field, are generally replicated on the field. So when you're talking about the habits that make the champion athlete and separates them from the average athletes, I'm talking about the day-to-day disciplines around physical, mental preparation and recovery, okay? So that dedication to consistent, high-intensity, high-quality training, their ability to visualise what they are going to do when they're training, and their ability to visualise what they're going to do when they're playing. The champion athletes generally, you don't see them get too excited when they do very well. They don't get too upset when they do badly. They're very level. Okay, they have these not just consistent behaviours in how they prepare, how they rest, how they recover, how well structured their life is, how they relate to the people around them. Okay, they also have this mindset where they are quite level. Okay, when they are disappointed, they put it behind them. Okay, when they do well, yes, they savour the moment, they enjoy it, but they put it behind them quickly. Okay, there's lots of athletes you see who will do very well for a short amount of time, for a week or two, for a month, for one season. But the true champion, that's the athlete that is able to sustain that for years, for 10, 12, 15 years. And that only comes with discipline, mental discipline, physical discipline, looking after themselves, and just being very, generally very consistent with how they are. The last thing I'll say with this, and this sounds crazy, but a lot of champion athletes are extremely good excuse makers. So what I mean by that is, when they have a bad day, they will say, well, my bad day happened for this reason, or this person did this, or these conditions were like that. But that is their way of resetting, and that is their way of staying level and not being too disappointed when things don't go well for them.
So what's that one myth about the physio that people completely misunderstand?
I'm going to say that you need pain for gain is the myth for me. So when a lot of people do see physios, you see a lot of physiotherapists perform manual therapy, and a lot of the manual therapy that some physiotherapists perform, it can be quite firm, can be quite hard, can be quite painful. For me, that is not necessary. You're going to see a physiotherapist, you're not going to see a panel beater. Your body does not need to be smashed, and you don't need someone's elbow in your back or in your thigh, that 3 or 4 inches deep into your back or into your thigh. So for me, the really good physiotherapists will find ways to get you moving better, to get you managing your pain more independently. And yes, they will often perform manual therapy techniques, but the most effective techniques generally do not need to be painful. So this notion of you need pain for gain, I think is a myth. I don't think it's true. I don't think it works in real life. And to be honest, I don't think it gives patients and people who see physiotherapists the best outcomes that they can get.
Thank you, Patrick. It was so nice talking to you, and I've learned so much from you.
You're very, very welcome.
Much.
I hope it all goes well with you. Thank you.
Thank you.